Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta. Well, the US-based fine jewelry brand Angara enters India earlier this year and is all set to make the most of the festive season. Angara was founded by husband and wife duo Ankur Daga and Aditi Daga based on their family's 300 years of gemstone expertise. Angara offers bespoke jewelry with natural and lab-grown diamonds and also colored gemstones. It is expected to hit a $1 billion revenue by 2030. I caught up with Ankur Daga and began by asking him about Angara's global footprint and India plans. Let's listen in.
So we're currently in the US, UK, Australia, and Canada. We just did our soft launch in India 10 months ago, did our hard launch in April, and we're super bullish about this market. I think it's going to be a very big one for us.
So what are the kind of investments that you're looking at, and what categories or geographies? And your strong line clearly has been online. Is that how you're looking at Indian markets also?
India is likely to be much more of an omni-channel play. So we don't have another store anywhere else in the world. This will be very different for us. And it's primarily because 80% of the people that call into our call center ask where our stores are. So clearly we need to serve that need, and we're driven by the customer, so that's going to be very different for us. In terms of our focus versus other D2C players in India, I think we're pretty fundamentally different in a few ways. One is we're very gemstone focused, so ruby, emerald, sapphire, tanzanite, and so forth. We're also very vertically integrated, one of the most in the world. So a lot of our gemstones will cut and polish in-house, so we'll buy rough all around the world. So for example, rubies from Mozambique, emeralds from Zambia or Colombia, cut and polish, design our own jewelry, manufacture our own jewelry, and then retail over the web. So it's a pretty unique model that way. We're also completely bespoke. So after a customer places an order, we typically produce that piece from scratch in the metal of choice, quality of gemstone of choice, size of gemstone of choice, all within 24 to 48 hours, and then ship to the customer.
Ankur, how would you look at the Indian markets differently? Because all the other countries that you have spoken about do tend to work on lower caratages in sense of gold and also in sense of MRP, something that India seems to be opening up to, but not really there.
Yeah, so fundamentally it's quite different in that respect. So I'll compare the US and the India markets. So the worldwide jewelry industry is roughly $400 billion, out of which India and the US are both $85 billion, the largest two in the world. India is growing a lot faster at 10 to 15% a year. The US is growing at roughly 4% a year. But fundamental buying patterns are different. So in India, 88% of jewelry sold is gold jewelry. Diamond jewelry is 10%. Gemstones are under 2%. In the US, it's substantially different. Half of the market is diamond jewelry. And gemstone jewelry is roughly between 12 and 15%. So gemstones as a category are more established there than here. For us here, growing primary demand for gemstones is going to be very core to the business. And it's a very different approach because it's also a very investment-heavy market. People who buy jewelry think of it as an investment here, which is not as much the case in the rest of the world.
So when you talk about gemstones and India, and as you said, it's just about 2% of a market right now. What is it that you would need to work in to penetrate that kind of a market? With what kind of caratages, what kind of investments?
Yeah, so in terms of the awareness in the market here, it's very high. The customers that call in or look at our website already know exactly what they want. But there's this difference between awareness and consumption. And I think the fundamental reason is in India, everybody looks at jewelry as an investment. And historically, there hasn't been a good way to invest in gemstones. And if you buy it, it's hard to resell it. So for us, part of what we're doing here is we'll be the first ones to make a market per gemstones. For the 40 top gemstones, we will publish an annual appreciation or depreciation report per gemstone. If anybody wants to exchange or buy back, accordingly, we will price it accordingly and we'll pay the premium when we buy back to establish that market, which will be pretty unique.
Ankur, talk to us about certification as well. And recently we've heard about two different certificates, the way lab-growns and the naturals, diamonds that is, would be certified. When it comes to gemstones, how are you looking at what certifier and what kind of an awareness do you foresee in Indian markets?
So for every piece that we sell, we provide a certificate of authenticity. Also, for a lot of the higher-end gemstones, we'll provide a GIA certificate as well. And for lab-grown diamonds, for example, or natural diamonds, we'll provide an IGI or GIA certificate. So it depends on the category specifically as to what type of certificate we provide.
What is your sense on where India is headed from here? Because we've seen wealth creation, we've seen interest and love for jewelry only grow from here.
Yeah, so I think starting next year, India will be the largest jewelry market in the world, which is super exciting. I think that will certainly continue to grow. I think we're going to see an explosion on the lab-grown diamond front, and we'll see an explosion in growth also on the colored gemstone market. And so that 88% that gold jewelry currently captures will start reducing a little bit, and everything else will start growing as awareness of other categories start increasing.
You've taken your own sweet time coming to India, haven't you?
Yeah, when we entered, we wanted to make sure we get it right. So this is our 20th year in the business. So it was a long time coming. And in a lot of ways, it feels like our homecoming. But this market is idiosyncratic in a few ways. So for example, we're providing gold weight, labor costs here, where we don't do that in the rest of the world.
Right.
We'll open physical locations, which we don't do anywhere else in the world. We'll also make the market for gemstones, which we don't do anywhere else in the world.
Right.
So it requires
so there are a lot of firsts happening here with you.
Precisely. Precisely.
So when it comes to manufacturing and procuring of diamonds and these gemstones as well, how is that supply chain working for you?
So the supply chain differs by gemstone. So for example, with emeralds, it would be Colombia or Zambia that we primarily source from. We'll source rough, cut and polish that, and then design jewelry to insert that into. For diamonds, we buy wholesale in Mumbai or Surat. For opals, we buy in the villages in Western Australia, then we'll cut and polish. For rubies, it's from Mozambique, or dealers in Thailand. So for each of the 40 gemstones, there's a completely different supply chain.
And for the Indian markets, as you said, you're going hybrid and offline as well in some of those areas. So what geographies are you really targeting? And when it comes to production within India, what place are you choosing?
So Jaipur would be where we start production, primarily because that's really the epicenter of gemstones in the world. And it's also our hometown and where our office in India is. In terms of, sorry, what was the...
your locations, offline locations in India.
Yeah, so Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore are going to be the top 3. And the reason is that 20% of our sales are currently coming from Bangalore, 20% roughly from the NCR region, and 20% from Mumbai/Navi Mumbai. And so we're letting the customer dictate where we open stores. Those are the top 3. And then we're also opening an experience center in Jaipur because that's where we want to showcase what we're all about.
When you talk about Indian markets, and it's quite different, and as you said, slightly difficult as well to get a penetration in with so many brands already in India, what would you say is going to be your USP when you enter here?
So because we're so focused on color, we're approaching this kind of on our own. We actually need more competition. Creating primary demand is expensive and it's time consuming. We would love for 10 others to jump in and we create it together, and then it's about capturing secondary demand. A lot of the D2C startups that we're seeing are all focused on lab-grown diamonds, which is great for the consumer. For us, a lot of the onus is on creating the demand for colored gemstone jewelry in general.
So as you're entering India, as I said in the initial comments itself, Ankur, it is a time when people start buying, and it is perhaps going to be designs. And as you were mentioning, as we were talking earlier before the interaction, 9-carat is also allowed in right now. Does that work in favor of the jewelry sellers?
Oh, I think it's going to be a game changer. So what had happened is when gold prices went the way they did, a lot of the capital in investing in a jewelry piece went to gold. Now, all of a sudden, a lot more of that capital can go into precious gemstones or it can go into diamonds. And that's going to result in much more elaborate pieces, much larger pieces in general. So I'm super excited about that.
All right. We've talked about gemstones and gold jewelry. I mean, that continues to be a bigger chunk for Indian markets, though. But when it comes to gemstones and natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, where do you see a more higher, better growth coming in for the Indian markets?
So I think if we talk about asset appreciation, because that's so fundamental to the Indian consumer, if I look at the last 10 years, what's happened is pretty interesting. So on the natural diamond side, prices have come down anywhere from 25 to 40% over the last 3 years. And if I look at a 10-year CAGR, it's like minus 2%. If I take gold, platinum, and silver, platinum has gone up by roughly 4% a year.
Right.
Silver, 9%. Gold 14%, which has beat the S&P and the Sensex.
Totally.
So it's been a fantastic investment. I think Uday Kotak put out a tweet saying that the Indian housewife is
the most intelligent,
the best fund manager, and that's absolutely true. That's exactly what's happened. What's interesting is that gemstones have outperformed all of these. They've gone up anywhere from 3.7 times to 6.8 times over the last 10 years. And if you look at Sotheby's, Christie's, Phillips, Bonham's auctions, a lot of the pieces that are trading at 2 to 3 times high estimates are color gemstones. So a lot of the capital that historically has gone into diamonds is now coming into color.
All right, that's Ankur Daga of Angara telling us that gemstones is a place to be, and they've given you the best returns perhaps in the last 1 year, outperforming not just the equity as an asset class, but various precious metals itself. But with that, moving from diamond and jewelry to food is what we will be talking about after this very short break. Don't go anywhere, because a conversation with Godrej Group's Nadir Godrej and ITC's S. Sivakumar is coming up on the other side.